All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. All right, guys, so overnight and early this morning, at least my time in the world, Bitcoin did put in one more high, hitting that 886 level that I talked about in yesterday's video. We also came to the top of the ascending channel that I talked about in yesterday's video. We talked about as long as we do not lose this ascending channel, Bitcoin will continue to grind to the upside and continue to make new higher highs and higher lows. Now, Bitcoin came up, hit the top of the channel, it wicked into that 886 level. We also had some bullish CVD absorption happening on the charts yesterday that I pointed out to you guys that gave us a higher probability to continue to grind up. And we talked about the target for that bullish CVD absorption was taking out the highs. We have done that now, and the bullish CVD absorption has played out. And after taking out the highs into the top of our ascending channel, we did get a pretty big rejection to the downside. And we even now, this high into the top of the channel and hitting the 886 was before I was awake this morning. But after we rejected from the top of the channel, you can see here our ascending channel here on the 15-minute chart, we lost the channel midline, came back. Actually, we had this three-wave move down, came back up and back tested the channel midline right here. And this is where I did short Bitcoin earlier today, shorting the back test of the midline of the channel. Now, I did take some profit looking at this initially as a scalp position around the bottom of the channel, and stop was above this local high right up here. But we ended up breaking the channel down. And when we started to break the channel down, if I zoom in here onto like the 3-minute chart, we did break the channel down, came up for a sort of back test of that channel. And this also was when I warned earlier today in the Discord that if Bitcoin does see a rejection on this back test here, we could see much more downside to come. And sure enough, we did get that downside to come. Bitcoin did see a drop all the way down to about 100.7, $100,700. And we did bounce at a pretty crucial level. So let me go back to the hourly chart here. And we're going to turn on our naked daily points of control. And I talked about this naked daily point of control yesterday being a minor support level that we could look for a bounce from. So you can see we had a naked daily point of control around 101,300. Now we did wick, $500-$600 past that, but we are bouncing from that naked daily point of control that we talked about yesterday. And we are coming up to back now a higher time frame back test of this ascending channel. We are bouncing still a little bit here. And if we pull our volume profile and we just look at this range that has been forming since this ascending channel, all the price action within this range, you can see that we had lost the local value, lost the local value area low. We were able to get back within that volume profile. We had a little rejection from the point of control, came back and back tested the value area low. And now we're continuing to push up back within this volume profile. So one of the things that I am watching here on Bitcoin, because this initial push that we saw down today could be a wave one of a much bigger retrace. Then we could retrace all the way up to the golden pocket area in a wave two, and then see that big explosive third wave to the downside in a wave three, maybe down to 97K, which I'll talk about in just a second. So I am watching now the local bearish backtest of our Fibonacci golden pocket area. So let's go ahead and look at that. We'll go ahead and pull our golden pocket from the highs to the lows. And you can see that golden pocket is coming in right around the back test of the channel, right around the new naked daily point of control that just confirmed just now. The daily candle just closed. So naked daily point of control. And we have the value area high that's very, very close by that area. So this general area between 103.8 and like 104.1 is going to be an area where we could put in a lower high on Bitcoin. Now, after breaking this bullish market structure that we've seen bearishly, we could rise up here, hit this golden pocket, have the bearish backtest of that trend, and then we could see that much bigger correction to the downside. So this is something I will be watching for. If we do come up to this area and start to reject, I will look to add to my short because I did take some profit pretty early on that short position. But if Bitcoin can reclaim this golden pocket and get back within the channel and start to establish price action back within the channel, I do think Bitcoin will continue to grind up, possibly even up to break up to a new all-time high. But we are seeing that 886 rejection. Now, I want to talk about this because I talked about this in yesterday's video. And if you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, I will cover it again. I'll cover it again right now. But in rangy type price action, the 886 will often act as a rejection. So this is our macro 886 pulled from the all-time high all the way down to our 74K lows. And let me go ahead and clean up this chart real quick here. Let's turn that off and let's turn that off. Okay. And let me also turn off that naked daily point of control. All right. So we do have, let me turn this off. There we go. Clean chart. All right. We did see that big push up in this five-wave impulsive move up to that 886. And that 886 is a macro 886 pulled from the all-time high down to our 74K lows. And oftentimes you will see a reaction at major levels like this. This 886 was in very, very close confluence with a value area high on Bybit. If we go to that Bybit chart and we look at that value area high, this was the last major area of resistance I was talking about on the chart. And I did say that we could see a rejection from this area. So we were looking to come up into this area with some bear divs and look for a short. That's why I did short up here. I would have shorted the touch of the 886 if I was awake and I saw that rejection. But we are up in this general area, seeing the rejection from our last major resistance on the chart. Now, if we do get that bigger pull down, bigger push down, if we come up to the local golden pocket and reject it and continue this breakdown, I do think we could break down to our large point of control, which you can see here is around 96,800, 96,900-ish. That is also, if we do a Fibonacci pull, and we just go from our last big daily lows up, actually, sorry, let's do it from the bottom of the range, the bottom of our range up to our highs that we created today. You can see our last big daily golden pocket from our last range low to our all-time high, or not all-time high, our new highs in this rally. The golden pocket is coming in right around that same area. So large range point of control golden pocket. And that would be an area just as far as volume profile trading goes. So let me go back to Coinbase's chart here. And let's turn on that volume profile. So anytime you see a big volume profile like this and you spend some time out of the volume profile and then you re-enter back within that volume profile, you generally will work your way up to the point of control to test that point of control to see if it's going to reject you, confirming like, okay, the fair value is not here. We're going to continue to drop here or continue to range and try to find the fair value. Or if you can break that point of control to the upside and flip it into support, you can continue up to the value area high of the range and see, usually you'll generally see, especially if you fill it this quickly, you can see a rejection on the first touch of the value area high. And then if you start to trade, like Coinbase's value area high is a little bit lower, but you can see we're trading back within the value area high of Coinbase. So now with daily bear divs, by the way, lower lows on the momentum waves, higher highs on the price action. Sorry, lower highs on the momentum wave, higher highs on the price action. Money flow topping out, now starting to curve to the downside here. So coming up to our key resistance of the volume profile with daily bear divs on the chart, seeing that touch of the 886, which now does make it more probable to eventually come take out our all-time highs. That's why I'm going to be looking for an overall higher low to come in and long that higher low on a potential swing position to break our new all-time highs. But overall, we could see a bigger correction from here. We are rejecting from the 886, and we are now entering back within the volume profile. So when we enter back within the volume profile after rejecting that value area high, we now can look at our major levels that were resistance on the way up. So we know that this point of control was major resistance on the way up. That was our only decent rejection here, was when we hit that point of control. We got a decent rejection over the weekend. Because we had our macro golden pocket coming in this zone, if we do that same golden pocket pull from the all-time high down to 74K lows, you can see that that golden pocket was right in that zone. We had a weekly level right in that zone. We had a naked monthly point of control in that zone, a naked daily point of control in that zone. We had a lot of confluence there for resistance, and we did get an initial small rejection from that area. But now once we break that area to the upside, that area is now going to act as support. It's just your basic support resistance flip. What used to be resistance is now going to act as support. So if we do see Bitcoin in a bigger move to the downside, start to reject, and we have the daily bear dibs coming in, we also bounce from that local naked daily point of control at 101,300. But if we do start to see a bigger impulse down, we could be looking at this whole push down that we saw today, a wave one. We could be seeing a wave two and then a big wave three, maybe four or five, coming down to that point of control area to back test it. And then we could see continuation to the upside if it holds on a bullish back test. Now, I do want to be aware that we could see it could drop much more than 97K, 96.5, 96.8. So I do want to make you guys aware that we could see a drop even down to 85, 86K. Let me just check something here real quick, guys. Okay. All right. And let me back this up. So we are rejecting from that area. I laid out this purple box ahead of time. That was our naked monthly point of control, our daily level, and pretty much the value area high of the Bybit range. Let's pull this volume profile all the way. Okay, and you can see that we are back within our Coinbase value area high, and also our Coinbase value area high has now shifted to the Bybit value area high level. You can see now our Coinbase value area high is now aligning with Bybit's. So this is the area for the pullback. If we are going to get a pullback, we are going to get an area. It's going to be from this area, or else we're probably going to break new all-time highs with no real retracement. But what I would like to talk about in this move up from 74K that we've seen, this could be considered a double 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. We're going to see that, but I just don't. This third wave is too shallow. If this is going to be a 1 2 1 2 and this is going to be a 3, that 3 needed to continue much higher. So it's highly improbable that that's a double 1 2. What this looks more like to me is a 5-wave impulse, a 1 2 3 4 5, hidden at the top of our 5th wave, hit into a key major resistance being the value area high of our range of the last 5 months. And now we are starting to break market structure bearishly to the downside. So what does this tell me now that we're breaking local market structure bearishly? 4-hour market structure, 1-hour market structure, and under, we're breaking bearishly. What this tells me is that this could be the start of that much bigger correction that I've been saying could be coming here. Now that we have some confirmation as far as bear divs on high time frames along with market structure break, what I want to be watching for is that's why I'm going to be really willing to short that golden pocket retrace that I just showed you guys earlier, because then that could be our big third wave to push down. Now, after a big 5-wave impulse like this, you generally see there's multiple types of corrections. There's an ABC, a simple correction like an ABC correction. There is something like a complex correction, which is a series of 3-wave corrections. There's flat corrections. There's many different types of corrections, but we are expecting a corrective move over the next few days here. So what Bitcoin could do is we could see a much bigger drop. And generally after your impulse and you see a big deep correction, that correction oftentimes will drop to the golden pocket of the entire impulse. So you can see our golden pocket of that entire impulse is coming in around 86 to 8,500, 86K to 85K, excuse me. And if we also look at that volume profile, let me go ahead and come into our volume profiles, and we turn on that previous range volume profile here. The point of control is a little bit below that area, but this general area where we had this consolidation for a week, a very flat, shallow consolidation, that now is going to be acting as a support level as well. So we have some, basic support resistance flip area, golden pocket, and I do believe we have some other levels there as well. Let's see. Okay, not quite in that area. What I do like, if we turn on our 786 as well, yeah, that monthly is near the 786, but we also have the value area low of our previous range near that 786. Now, I know that to you guys, that sounds like a very big retracement, but this was very unhealthy. This push up was very unhealthy as far as proper retracements grabbing liquidity before continuing moves to the upside. So we have a lot of liquidity that's been untapped and sitting down below, resting down below us. If we start to break structure impulsively to the downside, we could see a very fast move all the way down to come into that our major support levels, where then we could see a bigger bounce from that area and a whole new start of another big impulse to the upside, breaking all-time highs, possibly coming up to 120, 130K. But I just want to make you aware, now that we're breaking market structure bearishly here a little bit, we could see that bigger dump to the downside. All right, so let's go ahead and analyze what we could be looking at here. So first and foremost, I think this more macro volume profile that I have on the charts right now. Let me turn off the small one, previous range. So we'll turn off that previous range ones. This more macro volume profile is going to be important. So the point of control of that range, now you can actually see it's shifted down just a bit here. It's about 96,500 now. So about 96,500 to about 97K is going to be important support. It's our first major important support on Bitcoin. It is also that golden pocket pull from the lows of our last big weekly range up to our all-time high, not all-time, I'm sorry, I keep saying all-time highs, but it's not all-time highs, of our relief rally highs. And you can see that that golden pocket is right in confluence with that point of control. So that's the first area where we could look for major bounces on Bitcoin to eventually come up and take out that all-time high, knowing that we have touched the 886 fib level. Okay, and then other major support levels that we could look at. Let's just go ahead and turn on some of our levels here. Dailies, and we can turn on the pitchfork. Yeah, see, we do have some nice pitchfork confluence there as well. I'll talk about that in just a second at that 96,500 to 97 area. So yeah, you can see we're rejecting from that naked monthly point of control. I'm going to go ahead and delete that now because we've tapped into it. Also, this is a brand new naked daily point of control, but I'm going to delete this one because we just tapped into that. But I would like to say around this general area of the golden pocket, look at all this support and resistance, now support we have down here. Naked weekly points of control, naked daily points of control, the point of control of our previous range, golden pocket, all this area between like 86 and 83K is going to be our next major support area for Bitcoin on the charts. If Bitcoin does not hold that area, I expect us to come down to that 786 around 81K. And then if we lose that, we're probably going to make new lows on the chart. A few days ago, and in the VC chat in the Discord, I did talk about a possible flat correction. Let's turn on that weekly as well. Okay, so let's turn all this off now. So we did talk about a possible flat correction that we could see on Bitcoin overall in larger time frames. So if I zoom out, we go back to the daily chart. We did talk about this potential of this entire push down over the last 3 or 4 months being an A wave, a B wave where you come up to take out your all-time highs. It's a B flat, and then you see a C wave where you come down to take out your lows. And I showed you guys an example of that at the start of the bull market where we saw something very similar right here. We had our big push down. Then we saw a B flat where we came out and took out our highs of the A, and then we came down in C and took out the lows. So a flat correction, something very similar to this, where then we could continue the much bigger impulse to the upside. And then let me also talk about that 886 level again. I'm sorry, I got a bit off track with there. But yesterday in the video, I showed you guys this. So this is kind of just review if you watched yesterday's video. But oftentimes when you see that first major break in structure, and then you come up on a retracement for that, and you tap that 886, not always does it give you an ultimate probability that you're going to take out the all-time high. So if we look at this, let me just make sure this is pulled good. And I'm actually going to change this color because I can tell for some of you guys it's very hard to see. So there's the 886 there. And you can see anytime we come up and tap that 886, sometimes, not a majority of the time, but sometimes you do see a big rejection from that area. And then you come take out your lows from the bounce before taking out the highs. So that's one time that happened in the 2024 range that we just saw. Now, if we go ahead and look on the bigger one as well, we can go ahead and do our Fibonacci pull from the highs, the last big daily highs to the daily lows. And then you can see we came up to the 886 once again, tapped the 886, saw a very harsh rejection, and we came and took out the lows before ultimately taking out the highs, which tapping the 886 is supposed to give you a higher probability to come take out the highs. So this is what we see in rangy type price action with Bitcoin. 886 rejections. We saw it in the 2024 reaccumulation range. Couple 886 rejections where we did end up making new lows before taking out the highs of that range. Okay, so now let's go back to our present day price action. And this range is very similar in price fluctuation and time fluctuation to the range that we saw in 2024. We are rejecting from the 886. So there is a small possibility. Now it's the lesser possibility, I should say, but there is a possibility that we do come down and take out our lows at 74K before coming up and taking out the all-time high. That would also play into a flat correction because generally your general retracement for a flat, you can reject from that 0.9 area, which, you know, the 0.886, 0.9 area, which we are starting to see a rejection from that area. Now, I will say this, we do have the bear divs on the daily. We did have some, you know, money flow is finally rolling over on the daily, and you can also see here on NAMI, we have multiple drives of bear divs here on the daily. Money flow is curving to the downside. But for now, with this bullish market structure that we see in the completion of this impulse, possible completion of this impulse, I am now going to be expecting a retrace, and depending on how this retrace looks, if it's a three-wave corrective move into that golden pocket, I will be looking for a swing long there, or even at 97K, we could look for a long there. It might not be the swing long that we want to see, but that could just be the initial A wave down. Then we could see a B and then a C down to the golden pocket. Anyways, what I'm going to be looking for now, my bias is going to be looking overall for a higher low to come in on the charts for a push up to break the all-time highs. We do have to be careful though, because this is the area where we will see a bigger retracement. If we are going to see a bigger retracement before breaking all-time highs, this is the area with confirmations on the daily of bear divs. Okay, that is what I wanted to discuss on Bitcoin. Now, locally here, I do think that Bitcoin could see that bounce up to that golden pocket that I just showed you guys. It's a local golden pocket in confluence with the value area high. Let's see. Well, let me get rid of that. This golden pocket right here, if we turn on that channel, you can see that golden pocket is in confluence with that channel, and we also do have a naked daily point of control there. So around 104K. And if we come up to 104K and we reject, I will be looking to add to my short there to bring it down at least to 96,500, a 97K area. And we could maybe reject from here and continue down without even coming up there. That's still a possibility as well. Actually, let's check this out. Let's just go ahead and look at our 382. Okay, we broke the 382, but did we hit the 0.5? No, we didn't quite come up to that 0.5 yet. So, you know what we could see here with Bitcoin? We also need some time to elapse on the charts before the confluence with the back test of the channel. So we could see something like this, a three-wave corrective move up into that area. After seeing a big impulse down in 1, you want to see that three-wave corrective move in a 2, and then the big impulse in 3 all the way down. So yeah, we could see over the next night or so until New York Open, maybe we're coming up into that resistance tomorrow during New York Open, and we get that short opportunity. All right, let's go ahead and look at our liquidation heat map. This is our Model 3 heat map looking at the last month of price action. And guys, the liquidity has been cleaned out all around us as far as major liquidity to the upside. All that's left is like above the all-time high, but really all the major liquidity to the upside has been taken out. And a majority of the strong magnet of liquidity is now acting to the downside. And you can see around those range lows that I described to you guys from last week's ascending channel. I talked about this in yesterday's video. This ascending channel, those lows that never got taken out down there, we have a lot of our liquidity that is sitting right down into that area. Now, something else I would like to highlight about this area. You can see that we have the anchored VWAP from the all-time high that is in that area, and we have the anchored VWAP from our 74K lows in that general area. We also can turn on some levels here. Let's see, I think it was a monthly level. Was it? No, it was a weekly. Let's zoom out onto the daily. Yeah, I guess, okay. just that general area, 90K, 90 to 91K. I know we do have a support box in that area as well. That was a 1 hour order block, a naked daily point of control, and the anchored VWAPs. Now, this anchored VWAP from the all-time high is a little bit above that box now, but we could see that anchored VWAP from the lows entering into that area by the time we get down there. All right, that is the major liquidity below us. But even now, if we go ahead and zoom out here and we look at the last 6 months of price action, you will see that a majority of the liquidity, the majority of the liquidity is around that 92K level. Looks like we still have just a bit above us, but I do think that we could even come down. Let's go on to our Model 2 heat map and let's look at the last 3 months here. Yes, I mean, guys, we still have a majority of that liquidity that is down, making new lows around 63K. You know, that liquidity is resting down there. Now, let's just speculate here that this is going to be a B flat and we're going to reject in this area. And we are going to see a drop to make new lows. So let's take our trim base Fibonacci and let's just do a measurement and see if that was the high. Then our 1-to-1 Fibonacci target for the C wave down, the impulse down, if this is a bigger ABC, if this is a big A wave here, B wave here, and then a C wave, your C wave, your targets are between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236. Well, what else is that 72K that we've been talking about for months now on the channel? We've been talking about the golden pocket Fibonacci retracement going from the 49K lows up to our all-time high. If we turn on that golden pocket, you can see that that golden pocket is right there as well, right on top of that 1-to-1 target. And also the value area high of our 2024 range is right in that area. Value area high. So this general area would be a swing long opportunity for me as well, because we could be seeing after this 5-wave impulse completed that took us 2.5, 3 years. Let me just do this and let me turn off these. Okay. So after, let me go to the 2-day chart. We saw that very clear 5-wave impulse to the upside on the weekly chart, on the bigger, higher time frames. Now, if we're going to see a corrective move, which we generally do, one of the most bullish corrective moves is to see this flat here. A wave down, B come up here, and then a C wave. That's generally a flat correction where you see that correction happen, and then you could continue pushing to the upside. So if Bitcoin is about to go into this bullish super cycle, then this would be, even coming down back down to 70K, would be an acceptable level where you could be looking for swing long opportunities to bring Bitcoin up to, you know, $145,000, where it is a major target in for me, one of those areas. We do, of course, have areas of resistance before there as well. Okay, now let's turn on, let me get rid of this stuff now. There we go. And turn that off. Okay, now let's zoom back into the 4-hour chart. And I want to have a look at these pitchforks here. So you can see this pitchfork was a pitchfork that was pulled from the lows of wave 4, that very first big break of structure. And we did drop today, and we are bouncing today from that pitchfork midline. So if this pitchfork midline can hold, we probably are going to work our way up to the band, and maybe even the top of the band, which would be breaking that all-time high. This was the next major pitchfork level. And then as the other pitchfork here, you can see that this is our bigger, much bigger pitchfork. Let me zoom out here. Of our wave 3 Elliott impulse, so the big weekly impulse, wave 3 and wave 4 correction, you can see that the point of control of our range is coming in right around the midline. So that's another major area of support, more confluence for support in that general area. Okay, bullish CVD played out. I talked about this yesterday, guys, that we were having some bullish absorption on the charts, and that bullish absorption did bring us to new highs, hitting the target for that bullish absorption, and now we are starting to break structure to the downside. We're starting to break that channel to the downside. Locally, we're not really seeing too much on the charts right now as far as absorption. No bias here. You know, we are making higher lows on the charts right now, and lower lows on our CVD here. So I guess you do have some bullish. Actually, I wouldn't even say it's lower lows because locally, let me get rid of that. Locally here, we are not seeing that CVD decrease in that time from this low here. So higher on the CVD. We want to see lower on the CVD. And your open interest is decreasing as well. But yeah, we still are in the volume profile of our mini range. If we zoom back in on the hourly chart and we just look at that mini range that we're seeing, we are still within that volume profile. Let's go ahead and did I delete that? Okay, let's just pull it again. Yeah, we're still hovering around within this volume profile. If we start to lose the value area low again, I do think we can see that bigger drop because there's not much in here as far as support goes. Okay, that is it for Bitcoin. Now let's go on to Ethereum. Ethereum did get that rejection from the 786. Like I shorted this one, what was that? Friday, I think it was. Saturday. That was Saturday. Yes. Shorted that Saturday, that 786. I did TP half of the trade at this anchored VWAP, the back test of the anchored VWAP. Now I got stopped out on the other half of the trade, but it was still a very profitable trade for me. Earlier today, I did take a scalp short on Ethereum. Let's go zoom into the 15-minute chart here. And I took a scalp short expecting a move in a 5-wave impulse down. I shorted the 382 touch here because if this was going to be like a 1 wave here, like a triangle or contracting diagonal and a 1 and then 2, actually it was double 1 2 1 2 1 2 and then this big third wave, so we could see a 4 5 4 5. Anyways, Ethereum is seeing that rejection from that 786. We grabbed the liquidity from Saturday's highs, those weekend highs that we often talk about get taken out. We did grab that liquidity and hit up into our pitchfork. This pitchfork, let me go ahead and zoom out here. You can see this pitchfork band was the next major level of resistance on the charts. Let me delete that SFP now and let me delete this. So that pitchfork level, we bounced from the bottom of the pitchfork, the lower band of the pitchfork, and then we saw the big impulse through the midline up to the upper band. Now we are seeing a rejection from that 786 and upper band area. If we start to, now we are starting to break market structure bearishly here, taking out the lows. Let's zoom in onto the 2-hour, and you can see that we have broken market structure bearishly here. Break of market structure here. So now if we put in a lower high, we could start to break this upper range down here and come much, much lower. What I would be looking at on Ethereum, if we are going to see that bigger drop to the downside in an impulse down, kind of like Bitcoin, I really like this 2,000 to 2,100 area. So if we do a Fibonacci pull from the lows of the range up to our new highs, you can see that that golden pocket is coming in right in that area. We have our pitchfork midline in that area. We do have a naked daily point of control in that area. Let's see that we can get rid of. Let's get rid of that. Okay, and then if we look at, yeah, those are much lower. And we have that weekly that was down there as well. And a naked weekly point of control. So this general area between 2,000 and, 2,067 to like $2,000. This is the general major area of support on the chart for Ethereum, where we could look for a major bounce from here to come up to that 2,800 level of resistance. This area here is the area I will be looking for potential, I don't want to say swing longs, but bigger longs to the upside. So let me just mark this out. Weekly. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, that is about it for Ethereum as far as support levels go. We are holding this anchored VWAP from the all-time high. We did bounce from it again today. We saw a little bit of a wick past it, but if this anchored VWAP does hold on multiple tries of it, then we will continue to work our way up. And I would expect us to work up to the top of the band, of the pitchfork band, which is where our purple box of resistance does start on the chart. If we start to break it down and continue this impulse down, because Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, could be starting a much bigger impulse to the downside. So we could be, all of this push down today could be a wave one. We could be retracing right now for a wave two before seeing a big wave three to at least come take out these lows. I think these lows are begging to be taken out. You can also see on the charts here, we're on the 1 hour chart, but look at this bear dip that we're seeing. Three higher highs in price action and lower highs in the momentum waves, but our money flow is also coming out pretty aggressively now here on Ethereum. So I do think Ethereum could see that bigger drop to the downside, at least to come take out our range lows of this little range up here. And those lows would be coming in around 2270. Okay, that, and then of course to the upside, I still just think this box of resistance above us is the box to be watching. That is between 2757 and 2822 or 2819, I guess. That is it for Ethereum. Now let's go on to Solana. So Solana, guys, we were seeing the same exact. Let's see. That's it. Yep. Okay. Solana, we're seeing what we talked about yesterday. We were chopping in this pitchfork. We had hit the top of the pitchfork, but we did not get. We got the SFP. Let me zoom out here. Sorry about this, guys. We got the SFP of these highs right here yesterday, but we wanted to come just a little bit higher to take out both of these semi-equal highs. So this morning, early this morning, or at nighttime, we did come up and we SFP'd not only Saturday's weekend high, but we SFP'd both of these levels as well. Now, this one was already SFP'd on Saturday, but we finally took out that level there up into the top of the pitchfork, hitting the top of the pitchfork once again. And now we are fighting with this band. If we start to close 4-hour candles down below this band, like this 4-hour candle, because we had a fake out and then we reclaimed it right away earlier today. But if Solana starts to lose this band of support that we're at right now, then I do think Solana is going to continue at least to work its way down to the midline around 165 to 164. But we could see a much bigger drop on Solana as well. One of the things that looks kind of bullish about Solana, though, is if we look at this move down today, it does look very three-wave corrective here. And then the push up that we've seen so far, this recovery after that, has looked a lot stronger than a lot of coins. And if we go ahead and just pull our trend-based Fibonacci extinction and look at this, you can see, where did we end that dump today? Where did our dump end today? Well, our dump ended at the 1-to-1 fib target, which is where your ABC correction target is. So today, the dump that we saw could be a three-wave corrective zigzag move before continuing up again and maybe coming all the way up to this $200 area of resistance above us. I'm a little bit more bullish on Solana than some of the other coins right now. We are at the top of the pitchfork. We did just grab key liquidity, and we are fighting with holding this pitchfork band of support. But I would like to say that Solana is looking pretty bullish overall here, and I do think Solana could continue to work its way a little bit higher here. Yeah, and it's, by the way, it's still okay for Solana to come down to this midline and still be overall looking for higher. Let's zoom out to the 2-hour chart. We are in this range here. Let me pull this range. And you can see the value area low. We're still within the range. We're actually above the point of control now. And if we do work our way up to this golden pocket, just like with Bitcoin, I will be looking for a short. Even though I just said I think Solana can go higher, we need to have hedges against our bets. And because we are breaking some market structure bearishly, SFPing these local lows here, if we come up to this golden pocket, which once again, guys, we could see a three-wave move up to that golden pocket, which is near the value area high of that range. We could dump from there and make new lows below today's low. So I will still be looking for shorts around that 176.5 to 176.8 area. And if we start to break much bigger to the downside, I do think we can come to the bottom of the pitchfork. You can see we do have a golden pocket, which I do need to adjust this here. Let me adjust this. So that golden pocket pull is going to be from, just like with Bitcoin and Ethereum, we're measuring the lows of our last range up to our new highs. And that golden pocket is going to be coming in around 154, or like I should say 155 to 153.5. And that golden pocket is also our prior highs here. So that area could be acting as a bigger support level where Solana dumps down there, we see a bounce, and we come up to 200. I will be looking for bigger longs around 154 if we see confirmation on the charts to enter those longs. And other than that, let's go to our other Solana chart. Yeah, so this is another pitchfork that I have pulled on the Solana chart. Let me zoom out onto the daily here. And I do just want to pull, wrong thing. This volume profile all the way. So you can see we broke above the point of control, back tested the point of control. We have not come to the value area high yet, which is around that 195 to 200 area. Ethereum or XRP and Bitcoin have come to their more macro value area highs. Solana has not, but Solana is overall holding. Let me set that there, and let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of this as well. This is old. Okay, Solana overall is holding this pitchfork midline. So let's zoom in on this pitchfork here, 3-hour chart. You can see Solana was able to break above that pitchfork midline, and it has been acting as support every time we come down to it. But I would like to say this just does look a little bit distribution-y to me. You know, you have your initial high, you have your second tap, and then now here's your third tap, an SFP here of the second high. And if we start to lose this midline, that's when we could see that bigger retracement down to 154, 155 area. And then if we lose that, really it's going to be that point of control. Actually, I would even say a little bit lower than the point of control. I would say we're going to come for this liquidity down here. Around 140. Okay, so that is about it for Solana. Money flow, you can see, looks very good on Solana on the 3-hour chart. If we zoom out to the daily chart, no bear divs on Solana on the daily chart. So one of the things that I talked about yesterday in yesterday's video was Bitcoin dominance. And Bitcoin dominance did take a hit, and it is still taking a hit here to the downside. Well, Bitcoin has daily bear divs coming up into key resistances, and some of the altcoins do not have the same types of bear divs that Bitcoin has on higher time frames. So do we see Bitcoin dominance continue to drop to the downside, maybe to the bottom of this channel, where Bitcoin is seeing a bigger drop to the downside, and some of these altcoins are still rallying a little bit more, catching up, you know, Solana up to 200, things like that. So I just want to make you aware that that could happen. Total 3 market cap chart, we are seeing that impulse, you know, that 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe this fifth wave is done. We did take out our local highs here of that fifth wave, now pushing up, taking out the highs of this range since the dump. Remember, this was our mega dump that we had in February. Well, after that mega dump, we had a dead cat bounce, and the highs of that dead cat bounce, that is important liquidity, because then we started seeing continued pressure to the downside. So those highs were very, very important highs on the chart. Well, now you can see we've taken out the liquidity above those highs. Now do we see a rotation back down after taking out that liquidity? I do think it is possible that we could see that rotation back down. If Bitcoin dumps, some of the altcoins might dump less hard. I know that's counterintuitive to what usually happens, but or the Bitcoin, you know, range kind of sees a slow, grindy range to the downside, and altcoins will continue to pump a bit. But I do think we could see pullback on everything because we are hitting some key resistances on everything, finishing some impulsive structures on everything. Okay, that is it for Solana and the total 3 chart. SUI, I'm just going to do a quick update on SUI. SUI just is still rejecting from that general area that we were looking for it to reject from. So SUI, we saw the completion. Let me get rid of this too. The 5-wave impulse to the upside. I was describing this to you guys. We longed exactly down here in live in a VC chat because SUI was hitting into that 382 level, and we were looking for one more push up in a 5th wave. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. We could be ending that 5th wave. Now we could see a higher low come in on the charts and then continue the overall bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish the bigger, much bigger 5th wave here. So SUI is still looking bullish overall. I do expect new highs to be made above these highs here. No, excuse me. Sorry, not that. Not there. I do expect SUI to continue higher, but it is at an area where we could expect a major retrace. Look at on the chart from the highs of wave 3 to the highs of wave 5. Bear divs coming in on the chart, money flow topping out. Also, if we look at NAMI, bear divs confirmed, money flow draining out of the asset. I think NAMI is at an area where we're hitting into that macro golden pocket, and we also hit that daily level at 412. Now I'm going to delete that because we've hit into that, but we are hitting into our major resistance area, and now we could see a rejection. We are still above this value area high. As long as we continue to hold above this value area high, maybe that's the end of the rejection. So if we come down to this 369 to like 370 area, we could see SUI bounce from that area, but honestly, I would be expecting a bigger drop. If I'm the betting man on it, I think now that this 5-wave impulse is completed, we could be seeing a bigger ABC to the downside. So one of the things that I would be looking at in this is taking out this liquidity down here around 311. We could come much, much lower. So let's actually go ahead and re-pull this golden pocket based off the new highs. Come here, and then we'll make this, just make sure that's right on there. Okay, there's our golden pocket. That is like a very, very good area to look for spot buys. Just this general box down here. I guess I could extend this just a little bit now here on SUI. And yes, and then now more locally here, because here's the thing, guys, in this push up here, no structure at all. So if we start to take out these lows and not SFP these lows, then we're probably going to see a quick flush down all the way to this golden pocket because there's no structure in this move. Quick move up means quick move down. So if you're bullish on SUI, at the very, you want to see this level hold, this 311 level hold. You know, we can come down and wick it, maybe even wick it into this naked weekly point of control at 299 or 298. But if we start to lose that naked weekly point of control, then we could see a much bigger drop to the downside. So if we do something like this, we're probably going to continue dropping pretty quickly here. I would expect small bounces within there, though. And then as far as zooming in a little bit more on SUI, if we go on to the 4-hour and we just look at this last big push up on SUI, let me get rid of this now. We can just do a Fibonacci retrace from the lows to the highs. And you can see that this, if we pull this range also in this area, golden pockets coming in around the point of control. Point of control is a little bit higher here. Let me actually get that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so point of control, that's where the range starts. That's where the impulse finishes. The range starts here. So point of control, golden pocket, that's your first local level of support. Actually, not your first. Your first local level is this guy here. Value area high. I do believe we have some naked daily points of control around there. Let's check that out. Okay, no naked daily points of control there. So actually, yeah, I would say the first major level of support, not even major, medium time frame level of support would actually be this point of control golden pocket area, 356 to 352. So let's go ahead and mark that out. You could look for a bounce from this area, even if it's, here's the thing, guys, we could be seeing a bigger 3-wave correction. So you could come down here in an A wave, bounce from this area, only to come up to the point of control of this upper range, reject that area, and then come down to sweep that liquidity. That is something I'll be watching for on SUI. But if we see confirmation here to long, I will long. So let's just mark this. This is GP/. Okay, that is it for SUI. I'm going to kind of go quickly here. XRP, now XRP, guys, finally came up. Okay, XRP was great, and I did take a short from 261 on XRP based off of hitting. I did tell you guys that our major level of resistance above us was the top of this big descending channel. Let's zoom out onto the 8-hour chart. This big descending channel we've been in since December, November, really. December, sorry, since December. And I'm just going to clean this chart up. Sorry, guys. Let's turn off some of these levels. Okay, so since December, we've been trading within this volume profile in this kind of flat corrective, sideways and down corrective structure. and we reclaimed the value area low. We held the value area low, came up to the point of control, saw a small rejection, but were able to come up into the value area high. Now, I did tell you guys up here was our macro log golden pocket pull. So if we do our golden pocket pull from the highs of the move to the lows of the move, and we turn it on log scale because that's more than a 30% drop, you can see that macro golden pocket is coming in right at the top of the channel of our multi-month channel, and the value area high of that multi-month range was in this exact area. This was our major resistance on the chart. So when I saw us this morning coming up into that area, we wicked above the value area high. The second we started losing this value area high, I shorted. And actually I shorted even before we started losing it based off the reaction. But around that area is where XRP, we should expect a major pullback, at least to backtest this point of control, which we still have not hit yet. You can also see the point of controls in alignment with the anchored VWAP from the all-time high, around 241. So I do think XRP could continue to drop here to at least 241. And in a bullish case scenario, that will hold, and we will continue up to higher levels, which I do think overall XRP does have. I think we're going to break out of this channel soon and see much bigger explosion on XRP, because this whole entire channel does look corrective here. But that doesn't mean we can't make a move down after finishing this push up. We can't make a move down first, find some support, and then break out. That's generally what happens the first time you hit into the channel and the value area high. You will see that rejection. And then from that area, after seeing that rejection, then you can make a higher low on the chart and then see the bigger push breaking out of that channel. So I did mark this out in yesterday's video around 221. Actually, this needs to change now. Let me actually just delete that. And let's pull our volume profile again. Here we go. Okay, volume from the last lows of our range to our new highs. You can see that golden pocket is coming in around 223, 225 area. Let's see, did we have any daily levels there? No daily levels there. We do have daily down here. Okay, do we have confluence there? Not really. So we don't really have too much confluence where this golden pocket is. Let's try that golden pocket from this move here. Okay, I like that. So I know this is a lot of levels on the chart, guys, but this is just marking them all out. Then we find confluence. Wherever there's the best confluence, that's where you put a box. And then where's our weeklies? Okay, boom. So this golden pocket is from our last daily lows to our highs that we just made today. If we look at our naked daily points of controls, we have a fresh naked daily point of control at 228. And we also have that prior highs up in this area. General support resistance flip area as well, you can see in this range. So 228 could be, if we break 241, we could be coming all the way down to 228. Where I will be looking for longs on XRP in this general area. Let me get rid of this guy now. This is going to be okay, so that is XRP. You can also see XRP does have bear divs, higher highs through all of here, lower highs here. And if we zoom out onto the daily chart though, XRP, oh yeah, XRP was one of the ones that has bear divs on the daily as well, but not confirmed yet like Bitcoin. So XRP, higher highs, lower highs here, not confirmed completely because this hasn't fully started rolling over like it has with Bitcoin. I do think altcoins could see a rally against Bitcoin based off that total 3 chart, not quite reaching support, resistance yet. Although it did see a major liquidity grab. We have to be aware of that. Okay, and if this 228 level breaks, we're probably going to end up making our way down to this value area low. And that value area low also has some key liquidity resting below it at 207. And then I believe we have a, no, we hit into that weekly. So by the way, guys, this entire push up from 207 all the way up to 261, I gave you guys that trade ahead of time in the video before it happened, the day before it happened, and that entire big push up from this. I remember I personally longed 207.8 because we had a monthly level there and a weekly level there in confluence with our smaller range value area low. So literally this entire move you could have caught based off of that level of support that I gave. Now, I didn't catch the entire move. I TP'd some at these highs here, I think it was, and then I TP'd completely at 241 because I did think we were going to see a bigger rejection from that point of control. We didn't. I should have left some open. Oh, well. But now XRP, we could see that pullback to that general area, 228, or even down, actually taking out these lows down here at 205-ish, 203, 205. That's it for XRP. Let's go on to Chainlink. Chainlink did come up to that next area of resistance that I was telling you guys about in yesterday's video. So we did have the naked weekly point of control and 886 tap here. But what we were looking for is the back test of our major range value area low. It was our bigger all-time high range. Not all-time. Yeah, our upper price action here. So we had that value area low of this upper price action coming in confluence with, it was a naked weekly POC and a daily level. Let me get rid of that. So let's go ahead and come in here. Let's turn on our, this can be deleted. No, this can't yet. Okay. Daily level 17.76. You can see we hit that daily. And then our naked weekly points of control, we had a naked weekly point of control at the top of that purple box. We hit into that. So nice rejection from our area of resistance. Also grabbing this liquidity, these double highs that were up here, semi-equal double highs. And we are seeing a bigger retrace here. Now on Chainlink here, we were looking for one more push up. Remember, in this area, we were looking for one more push up based off of a bigger 5-wave structure. So an impulsive structure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've had our 5 waves now complete. And if we are to see that bigger correction, just like with Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, all the other coins, after a 5-wave impulse completes, you are looking for a bigger correction to the downside. So one of the things that I would say on Chainlink here, let's just go ahead and look at this more macro market structure here. Let me turn off these support boxes for now. And let's re-pull this golden pocket. Now that was just a theoretical fib pull I was looking at yesterday's video. There we go. That golden pocket is coming in around 14.8, which is around the point of control of this range here. Actually, value area low looks a little bit better here of this little range. But if we look at Chainlink, there it is. Okay, so let's look at Chainlink on just this bottom price action here. And yeah, we're above the value area high of this range. If we do come down to that value area high, we could see a bounce from there. So that's about 15.5. I would say that has to hold, or we're probably going to come down to the point of control, which you can see is near the bottom of our pitchfork band. And in a more deep pullback scenario where we do see a bigger, deeper retrace, the golden pocket is in confluence with the value area low of that range, around 12.6 to 12.4. So that's your real major support now, is this area. Let's just go ahead and mark that out. This is going to be GPs. And by the time we get down there, the pitchfork, bottom of the pitchfork could be in pretty close confluence with that. Let's turn on our other support boxes and let's see what we have here. So we have that golden pocket and daily. Now this box, we hit this box before, this box was here before we came down to it and bounced from it. We bounced from the golden pocket, but we did not hit the daily, and that's why I left this box on. But I'm going to delete this box now because we did see the move from it. That was our support level. We did see the move from it. Okay, now this box here, SFP into a golden pocket. I do believe that golden pocket was from the lows of the impulse to these wave 3 highs. Not quite. Okay. I would say this is still valid, but we need to move this down, and that actually works better because the SFP, you want to see it wick a little bit past that liquidity level. So now we have this liquidity sitting here at 11.91, and we could see a wick into this golden pocket. Anytime you see a liquidity grab into a golden pocket, that usually gives you a really nice reaction. So I'm still going to keep this level of support on the chart. And then, of course, our lower level, we have that naked weekly point of control. We have a weekly level. We have a golden pocket of just this first push up, here, golden pocket of that, and the value area low of our much larger range is down there. So I'm going to leave that box as well. So really, Chainlink, we're looking at like 4 major support levels here. And of course, you always play level to level. If you come down to your first level and you bounce, then great. Look for the longs if there's confirmation. If it breaks, look to the next level. I would say this golden pocket is okay, but I would actually be looking at the point of control first, around $14. Let's zoom out to the daily, and let's pull that volume profile of this entire upper range here. Yeah, okay. Point of control at $14 is the area we're at, 14.3-ish. You can see that's in confluence with the bottom of our pitchfork band. 4-hour chart. Yeah, that's our area here, 14.3, because by the time we get down there, this pitchfork band's going to be a little bit higher. It could be in confluence with that area. And I believe that's going to be our 786 as well. Yeah, okay. So our first real box of support on Chainlink is going to be in this general area. 786 pitchfork band slash. That's 14.3 to like 14.16 ish. Okay, that is it for Chainlink. Now I'm going to go into CRV Curve, and I have not done analysis on Curve for quite a while, but someone asked me about it, so let's go ahead and look at this here. We're going to have to kind of get rid of some of these things and look at the charts. Okay, we'll get rid of that. We did bounce from our nice box of support very, very nicely here. That's the box of support we had on the charts from, it looks like, when we were up in this area. See a nice 3-wave corrective move down to the golden pocket. So look at this, guys. Actually, very nice learning. Big impulse up. Then we saw that 3-wave corrective move to a higher low, golden pocket area. Continue the push up. This is what we could be looking for on Bitcoin. So imagine this is the 74Ks on Bitcoin, 74K lows, and then we just rejected from the value area high. We could see a bigger 3-wave move happen where we hit into that golden pocket around 85K and then see the impulsive price action continue. But that's just what happened on CRV at the start of that move. Now, okay, 1, 2. Man, CRV. Oh. Okay, we did see a rejection initially from this box of resistance. You could see we rejected, came down, and back tested a daily. I do believe we marked out that daily afterwards because I remember the last time the person asked me. So let's get rid of that. Let's now zoom out and look at some bigger. Yeah, this looks pretty. Ooh, I'd be wary on this push up here. We are breaking out of this descending channel, which is a nice sign. So if we do come down, now that we're breaking out of descending channel, if we come down and bullishly backtest it, we could continue a little bit higher. Let's pull that golden pocket from the highs to the lows. Let's turn on golden pocket, but because that's more than a 30% drop, we need to turn it on log scale. Ooh, okay, it looks like we are rejecting from the golden pocket. Okay, that's not the best sign to see that rejection there, but we could see a bigger pullback from this area. We're rejecting from this area. If we break back within this channel, I do think it could spell some trouble for CRV, and we could see a much bigger move to the downside. So let's go ahead and look. Let's just do some proper TA on this real quick here. I'm just going to mark out a couple levels. Okay, monthly above us hasn't been tapped. Let's go to the weekly. No, I'm not going to mark anything there. And let's go to the dailies. Okay. So that daily is still a fresh daily there. And then we have a fresh daily here. I do see a slight ascending channel here, and I'll show you guys that in just a second, but let me mark this out. And then of course we do have a daily that's in this area as well. Okay, that naked weekly point of control has been tapped. And we have a naked weekly point of control down here. So this looks like the major support zone. Let's just mark that out around 45 cents. And I'm going to get rid of this support resistance flip area. I'm going to get rid of this box now that we bounced from it. And definitely down here still looks good, juicy too. Okay, and then let's just look at our naked dailies. Yeah, oh wow. I'm just going to mark out this one here for now. Okay, that is about it for the levels. Now let's go ahead and zoom in here a bit and let's look at what is happening here, because I do see, at least in this last little bit here, we are forming this ascending channel. Let's do it from here. Let's go. No, that's not the right way to pull it. Let's do it from the lows. I'm going to hide that bigger channel. And I would say this ascending channel is kind of what we're chopping in here on CRV. So what we have here, we're bouncing from the midline, or we did see a small bounce from the midline earlier today. But let's go ahead and take our Fibonacci pull from the lows of the channel to the highs of the channel. Yeah, golden pocket is coming in right around that naked daily point of control and the daily level. And it's the bottom of the channel, near the bottom of the channel. So I would say your first area of support here is going to be this general area around 65 to 65 cents, around 65 cents. Now, if we break that, we start breaking this ascending channel down, we could sweep all this liquidity super quickly. And I would say we could even come down to 45 cents. Now, 45 cents is your next major level. It is the daily level, a monthly level, and a naked weekly point of control down there. And then also, if we do a Fibonacci pull, and we look, and let me make sure this is not on log. Okay, so there, actually, let me make sure this one's not on log either. Yeah. All right. I'm going to adjust this box just a bit. So, because that is not big enough to be on log. So there you go. 66 cents is our first major level of support, and that would be near the bottom of the ascending channel. So if this ascending channel structure is still going to stay intact, 66 cents, closer to 67 cents, like 66 to 67 cents needs to hold. Now, if we are going to break down after seeing the macro GP rejection, then we probably are going to work our way down quite a bit. Let's. Okay, I would say we could pull a volume profile of this entire lower price action. Okay, point of control is near that golden pocket. And let's actually look at this. How big of a percentage move was this? Okay, that's 139% move to the upside. So that does need to be a log golden pocket. So let's click this here and let's change that one to log scale. Okay, much better. I like this golden pocket here. It's around the point of control of this range. And let me make sure this range is pulled properly. So that area, that general area would be a good area to look for support, like golden pocket, 48 cents. I do think maybe a little bit, 45 is actually a little bit better to me. And if we add that 786, okay, nope, too low. And then you can see the value area low of this range. We have a weekly, a naked weekly, and a daily down here. You know, that's 38 cents though. So level to level, you don't even start looking at this until we start breaking some of our other levels. And then the other range that I would pull, the one last other range that I'd pull is just the range of all the price action within this ascending channel. So let's just grab that. Okay. Value area low near this daily looks pretty good. You would be also taking out those range lows of that channel or pretty close to them. You could wick past it, grab that liquidity, and then close back within this volume profile. But the daily in confluence with the POC might be nice too because you have some internal liquidity resting right into that area. I would say 66 cents is going to be your big level to hold. 67 cents. If you break 67, yeah, you have some areas in here where you could see some bounces. But honestly, if you break 67 cents, you probably are going to work your way down much lower. And we can actually pull the volume profile of this lower range here. I would say this range. And yeah, I would say you're probably going to at least backtest the value area high of this range around 54 cents. Okay, that's about it for curve. Now, actually, if curve continues to the upside, if we break this golden pocket and continue up to the upside, we do have that monthly that's up there around 89 cents. I think that daily level, let's see if that 786 is in confluence there. Okay, and let me make sure. Yep. Okay, that's been way, okay. Yeah, actually, I think that if we break this golden pocket, we could come all the way up to this general area of about $1 and even maybe even wick out these highs up here. But that would be in the next major area of resistance. We do have some fair value gap in there. Yep. Okay. That's it for CRV. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you got anything out of this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Also, I do have two partners of the channel. BYDFI Exchange. It is a KYC less and VPN. You do not need to use a VPN or you do not have to have KYC. They are offering up to 15% cash back when you sign up using my affiliate link on your initial deposit, up to $1,000 cash back. And they are also offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you trade. And discounts on trading fees, 17% discounts on trading fees. They are also doing a new thing, guys, where if you are a whale and you deposit a large amount of money on the exchange, they are offering up to 45% discounts on trading fees. Like, that is incredible. VIP 5 status. And then MEXC is the next sponsor and partner of the channel. They are offering 10% cash back on your initial deposit, and you can get up to $20,000 in future trading bonuses depending on how much volume you trade. So the links are in the description for that. Also, the links for NAMI are in the description. I do have a 50% off code right now for a limited time. If you're interested in using NAMI, which is a great indicator that gives you some really nice signals, website for that, and then the discount code is in the description as well. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you. Have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow.